in the heart of space, where light itself surrenders. There exists a silence older than time, a place where stars are swallowed whole and reality bends upon itself. Tonight we drift toward that abyss, and not to fear it, but to understand it. Let go and fall with me into the infinite darkness. Long ago, a massive star burned brighter than 1,000 suns. It was a beacon across the cold expanse, a monument to creation itself. Around it, worlds danced in perfect harmony. Bathed in its radiance, light streamed endlessly from its core, each photon a whisper of life to the frozen dark. It had existed for billions of years, patient, unyielding, magnificent. It was a god among stars, its nuclear heart fusing the simplest of elements into the building blocks of everything that was and would ever be. Hydrogen became helium, helium became carbon, carbon became iron, and with every fusion, the cosmos sang its name in waves of fire and light. Yet even gods have endings. For a time the star seemed eternal. Civilizations that may have looked upon it in the night sky thought it immortal, a steady gleam that would outlast memory itself. But deep within its heart the balance was shifting. The fusion that had sustained it for eons was slowing, its furnace growing weary. The light that had once roared began to tremble. The star's core, once a symphony of creation, started to hum a lower note, a lament, a quiet dirge for what was to come. It had given so much. Every atom in every living thing owes its existence to stars like this one, cosmic forges turning chaos into beauty. But in the end, even beauty cannot escape the laws of the universe. The star's fuel dwindled, its brilliance dimming. The fusion slowed, and gravity, the patient, silent sculptor, began to whisper its name. For millions of years, the struggle continued. Fusion pushed outward, gravity pulled inward. It was a perfect balance, a cosmic heartbeat. But when fusion faltered, gravity waited no longer. The invisible hand of collapse took hold, crushing the star from within. The outer layers trembled. The surface shuddered. Deep inside, the iron heart, cold, heavy, unyielding, could no longer bear the weight. And then, in one final desperate act, the star died. The collapse was instant and violent. The outer layers imploded, then exploded outward in a cataclysmic supernova, a bloom of light that could outshine entire galaxies. Worlds that had once orbited nearby were swept away in fire, their matter scattered into the void. The explosion tore through space, sending waves of radiation and dust that would one day seed new stars, new planets, new beginnings. But at the center, something far stranger was happening. Where once had been light, there was only collapse. Gravity, insatiable, devoured everything. The core, crushed beyond imagination, condensed into a single point, a singularity. Matter and energy, time and space folded inward, spiraling into oblivion. What remained was not death, but transformation. A black hole was born. It did not blaze or burn. It did not sing or shine. It simply existed until a silent wound in the fabric of reality. Around it, light itself twisted and fell. Space warped. Time slowed. The universe bent to its will. It was a paradox, an object so dense that not even the universe's fastest traveler, light, could escape its grasp. And yet in its darkness there was something profoundly beautiful. To an outside observer, the black hole was invisible, a perfect sphere of absence. But around it glowed a halo, the event horizon where light danced one last time before falling forever. Gas and dust, drawn into its gravitational embrace, spiraled inward, forming a glowing accretion disk that burned hotter than any sun. This was the final act of light before surrender. The cosmic ballet of creation and destruction intertwined. Nearby, the remnants of the star's former glory still drifted. Fragments of planets, shattered moons, vaporized dust. Over time, they too would be drawn closer, their paths curving inward until they crossed the point of no return. To cross that boundary was to vanish from the universe's story, yet nothing truly disappears. Inside the black hole, matter does not cease to exist. It becomes something else, something beyond comprehension. The laws that govern stars and planets no longer apply. Space and time themselves lose meaning. Every second stretches toward infinity. Every distance collapses to nothing. To enter a black hole is to step beyond reality, into a place where all known truths dissolve. And though the black hole was born of death, it became a cradle for possibility. For what is destruction, if not the beginning of transformation? The universe does not mourn. It remembers. The dust from that dying star drifts outward still, across light years of emptiness, carrying within it the seeds of new worlds. In some distant nebula, the debris begins to gather, swirling into new shapes. Gravity pulls the fragments together once again, and the cycle begins anew. From death, life. From collapse, creation. Eons pass, galaxies spin. New stars ignite, unaware of the legacy buried in their atoms. The memory of a giant that once burned brighter than 1,000 suns. Somewhere in the silent heart of a distant galaxy, the black hole remains. It does not fade. It does not age. It simply is. An immortal monument to the impermanence of all things. Around it, space continues to evolve. The black hole consumes, grows, and distorts everything that dares to draw near. Time itself bends at its edges. Stretched thin by gravity's relentless pull, to a distant observer, anything that falls toward it appears to slow, frozen forever at the threshold of eternity. But from within, the story is different. Inside, everything falls, endlessly, silently, inevitably, toward the singularity, toward that point where all paths converge and meaning unravels. It is said that black holes are the universe's memory, that within them every atom, every moment, every piece of information ever consumed still exists, trapped beyond sight. Perhaps in that infinite compression the universe keeps its secrets. Perhaps nothing is ever truly lost. If one could stand on the edge of such a void, what would they feel? Awe, perhaps, fear, wonder. To gaze into a black hole is to confront eternity itself, the ultimate unknown. The stars around it would warp, their light bending into arcs and rings, reflections of themselves caught in the gravity's lens. The closer one drew, the more the world would distort, until time stretched to infinity, and every heartbeat became an echo across ages. But the black hole does not notice. It does not feel. It does not hunger, though it consumes. It is beyond emotion, beyond thought. It is pure being, the universe folded upon itself. And yet, the story of the dying star does not end here. In time, even black holes will fade. Stephen Hawking once suggested that they are not eternal, that over unimaginable spans of time they leak energy, shrinking, evaporating through what we now call Hawking radiation. It is a process so slow that for the greatest of black holes, it will take longer than the current age of the universe to complete. But when that final moment comes, when even the black hole's gravity can hold no more, it too will vanish, and in that final instant, all the energy it ever consumed will be released in a burst of light. The universe, ever cyclical, will see even darkness transformed back into brilliance. Imagine it, the quiet end of a cosmic titan, a final whisper of light escaping into the infinite night. A story that began with fire ends with it. What was once matter becomes energy. What was once a star becomes everything once more. It is easy to think of the universe as cold and uncaring, but within this endless dance of creation and destruction lies meaning, a rhythm, a pulse. The dying star did not perish in vain. Its light became atoms, its atoms became worlds, its death became the seeds of new beginnings. Somewhere, perhaps far away, another sun rises on another world, and on that world, life looks to the night sky and wonders at the stars. They will never know that their world exists because of a death long past, that every breath they take carries within it particles once born in the heart of a forgotten giant. But that is the quiet beauty of the cosmos. Everything is connected. Every end is a beginning. The dying star lives on in ways it could never have imagined. Its atoms may now reside in the air of a new world, the light of a new dawn, the thought of a sentient being gazing upward in wonder. The black hole, too, remains, a reminder that transformation does not always mean disappearance, that even in the darkest corners of existence, something profound endures. And so the universe continues, expanding, evolving, dreaming. Stars are born, live, and die, and from their ashes new stories rise. The cycle never ends. It only changes form. The black hole that once was a star waits patiently, timelessly, as galaxies drift and fade. Perhaps one day, long after everything else is gone, it will be the last thing to remain. The final echo of a universe that once blazed with light. And when even that fades, when time itself unravels, the memory of the dying star will still linger in the fabric of reality, not as light, not as matter, but as meaning. Because in its death it revealed the greatest truth of all, that nothing ever truly ends. Everything transforms. Everything continues. The dying star burned, collapsed, and was reborn as darkness, not as an end, but as a passage. In its silence it speaks the language of eternity. All that was will be again. And though its light no longer shines in the heavens, its legacy remains woven into the universe itself. The quiet hum beneath the stars, the pulse of existence, the whisper that even in darkness there is creation. What was once light is now shadow. What was once a star is now infinity. And somewhere beyond time the universe remembers, not the death, but the transformation. Long ago, in a corner of the universe now swallowed by silence, a massive star was born from a cloud of dust and gas. It began as all stars do, a whisper in the dark, a ripple in the infinite ocean of space. Gravity, that quiet sculptor of creation, gathered the drifting particles together, pulling them tighter and tighter until their dance became a storm. The cloud spun faster, collapsing inward, the pressure rising beyond imagination. Then, from the chaos, came fire. In a single moment of ignition, hydrogen fused into helium, releasing the light that would define its existence. The universe took a breath and a new sun began to shine. For billions of years it burned, brighter than 1,000 suns combined, fierce and unstoppable. Its light traveled across the emptiness, illuminating distant worlds that circled faithfully around it. Its warmth gave life to the dust that became planets, moons, and perhaps even beings who looked up at its glow with awe, never knowing they were born from its flame. The star was ancient, and yet in the vast chronology of the cosmos, it was only a spark, a brief flare in the endless night. From its heart, atoms were forged in the crucible of fusion. The carbon in breath, the iron in blood, the gold that would one day glint on an unknown world. Every second it gave of itself, pouring energy into space, sustaining its cosmic children. It was a perfect balance. Outward pressure from its nuclear core pushing against the relentless inward pull of gravity. Creation and collapse, light and shadow forever entwined. For eons the equilibrium held. The star lived in harmony, unaware that its own brilliance carried the seed of its end. Deep within its core, the simplest element, hydrogen, began to run out. The fire that had sustained it for billions of years began to flicker. The star, once a roaring inferno of fusion, felt its pulse slow. The hydrogen that had fueled its eternal glow was nearly spent, and in its absence the balance faltered. Gravity, silent and patient, had been waiting. At first, the change was subtle. The star swelled, its outer layers expanding in defiance. It became a red giant, immense and swollen, its surface cooling even as its heart grew hotter. To those who watched from afar, it seemed to grow in majesty. But this was no new birth. It was a prelude to collapse. Inside, the core fused helium into carbon. then carbon into oxygen, neon, silicon, and finally, iron, the dead weight of the periodic table. Iron cannot be fused into anything heavier without consuming energy, and so once the core filled with it, fusion ceased. The fire within the star, the very process that had kept it alive, went out. Now, only gravity remained. The star began to collapse in on itself, its immense mass turning inward, crushing the core smaller and smaller until it reached densities beyond imagination. The surface trembled, layers of gas and plasma convulsing as the balance shattered. Then in a single instant the star's heart imploded, and the outer layers exploded outward in a supernova. The light of that explosion could outshine entire galaxies. For a few brief moments the dying star became the brightest object in the cosmos. A final desperate act of brilliance before silence. Matter was flung across space at unimaginable speed, scattering elements that would one day become part of new stars, new worlds, new life. The shockwave rippled through the void, carrying within it the story of everything the star had ever been, and yet, even as it died, something within refused to disappear. At the center of the explosion, the core continued to collapse. Gravity crushed the remaining matter tighter and tighter, beyond the limits of known physics. The atoms themselves disintegrated, protons and electrons merging into pure density. The space around it warped, curving inward until even light could no longer escape. And thus, from the death of light, a new kind of object was born, a black hole. It had no surface, no shape, no boundary that could be touched or seen. It was a shadow made solid, a hole in the fabric of reality itself. Around it, the light of the dying star still lingered, spiraling into the darkness in a halo of fire, an accretion disk, glowing with the last remnants of energy. It was beauty born of destruction, a cosmic requiem where matter and time twisted into eternity. If one could have stood near it, the sight would defy comprehension. Space itself bent like glass, the stars beyond appearing warped and doubled. Time slowed near its edges, stretching seconds into centuries. Anything that ventured too close, whether a fragment of rock, a beam of light, a forgotten planet, would spiral inward, drawn by gravity's absolute command. Once it crossed the event horizon, the point of no return, it vanished from the universe forever. To those who watched from afar, such a fall would appear eternal. The object would seem frozen on the edge of the abyss, never quite crossing, its light red shifting, fading, until it simply disappeared. But from within the story continued, an endless plunge through the curved corridors of space-time, deeper and deeper toward the singularity. At that center lies a mystery no human mind can truly grasp, a point where the known laws of physics collapse. Density becomes infinite, time ceases to exist, and all that remains is pure gravity, pure potential. The singularity is not merely an object. It is a concept beyond matter, beyond energy, a doorway perhaps to something else. What happens inside a black hole? Even now no one truly knows. Some say everything that falls in is lost forever. Others believe it is preserved, encoded in the very fabric of the horizon, waiting to be reborn. Maybe somewhere beyond what we can perceive, the information is rewritten, not destroyed but transformed, waiting for another universe to unfold. For now, it remains the greatest of cosmic secrets. The black hole that formed from the dying star did not remain alone. Around it, remnants of the explosion drifted through the galaxy, gathering in great nebulae. Over millions of years, those clouds of dust and gas began to condense once more, pulled together by gravity's patient hand. From their swirling embrace, new stars were born, younger, smaller, but burning with the same fierce light that had once filled the heavens. The cycle of creation continued. The elements forged in the heart of the dying star now lived again, in the atmosphere of planets, the core of comets, the dust that glittered in distant skies. On one of those worlds, perhaps billions of years later, life would emerge. It would look up at the night sky, see the faint shimmer of ancient light, and wonder how it all began. Unbeknownst to them, they would be breathing the legacy of that ancient fallen sun. The universe does not waste. It transforms. The black hole, too, continued its silent reign. It consumed the remnants of its own birth, devouring matter that strayed too near. Each fragment that fell into it made the void stronger, its mass greater, its pull deeper. Over time, it drifted to the center of its galaxy, where other stars and dust gathered around it, orbiting like worshippers around a god. There it remained, invisible yet powerful, shaping the motion of the cosmos itself. It was no longer merely a remnant of a star. It had become an anchor for an entire galaxy. Around it, billions of suns orbited in slow, graceful arcs. Without it, the galaxy would fly apart. From the death of one star had come the stability of billions more. The dying star, once a lonely beacon, had become the heart of a galactic cathedral. And yet, even black holes are not eternal. Across unimaginable eons, they too begin to fade. Through the process of Hawking radiation, they leak energy, tiny, imperceptible quanta escaping their grasp. It is a process so slow that the life of the universe itself will end long before most black holes do. But eventually they will evaporate, releasing their stored energy in a final, faint whisper of light. When that happens, the last echoes of the dying star will return to the cosmos as pure radiation, the end of a cycle that began with a burst of fire and ended in silence. Imagine that moment. The universe, now ancient and dim, its galaxies long faded, its stars extinguished. The black holes, once the mightiest objects in existence, flicker out one by one. Each release is a farewell, a final spark of energy dissolving into the dark, a heartbeat of light that ripples through the dying fabric of space-time. And then, there is quiet. But perhaps even then it is not truly the end. Some theories suggest that from the death of one universe another might arise, that in the collapse of space-time itself, a new explosion may bloom, a new Big Bang igniting fresh creation. If that is true, then every black hole could be the seed of a new cosmos, every dying star, a promise of rebirth. In that vision, the universe is not a single story, but an endless cycle of light and shadow, of beginnings and endings without number. The dying star becomes more than a celestial event. It becomes a symbol of transformation, of the eternal rhythm that binds all things. Its death is not destruction, but a reminder that creation and collapse are two sides of the same coin. When we look to the night sky, we see light that has traveled for billions of years to reach us. Some of those photons left their stars before Earth even existed. Some come from suns that no longer burn, their light still journeying through time, carrying the memory of what once was. When we gaze upward, we are looking into the past, into the dying breaths of ancient giants whose ashes became our own existence. Perhaps that is the greatest truth the universe offers us, that nothing is truly gone. Every atom, every particle, every flicker of light is part of a grand continuum, recycled and reborn endlessly. We are made of the same material that once burned in the heart of a star. When we speak, when we breathe, when we dream, we echo the same forces that shape the cosmos. The dying star was not an end, but a beginning disguised as silence. Its collapse gave birth to the dark heart of a galaxy. Its scattered dust gave rise to worlds. Its elements gave rise to life. And one day, that life looked back and wondered why it felt so small beneath the stars, not realizing that it was, in truth, part of them. Billions of years after its death, the light of that ancient star still travels through space, faint but unyielding. Somewhere in the deep night it still shines. the last ghost of a sun that once burned with unimaginable fury. And in that light, in that whisper of memory, the universe tells its oldest story, that from darkness comes light, and from light darkness again. The cycle never ends. It only changes form. The dying star was never truly lost. It simply became everything else. In the beginning there is only the void. Space stretches infinitely, silent and dark, punctuated by the faint glimmers of distant stars, each a pinprick of memory from some long-forgotten fire. And yet even in this emptiness there is a presence, a pull subtle and inexorable calling all things toward it. It is a gravity beyond measure, older than time, more patient than the universe itself. Tonight we drift closer, drawn toward the edge of reality, toward the boundary where light ceases to escape and all known laws unravel. As we approach, the familiar framework of space begins to twist. Stars no longer shine as we remember them. Their light bends, curling around an invisible center. What was once straight becomes curved, a ribbon of brilliance folding upon itself. The universe seems to shimmer, and we feel a subtle dislocation, as if the very fabric of reality is stretching to accommodate something beyond comprehension. Time itself, that constant river in which all events flow, slows perceptibly. Seconds stretch into minutes, minutes into hours, until motion feels almost illusory. The farther we drift, the more the familiar turns strange, the known world melting into the surreal. And there it is, the event horizon, the boundary of no return. It glows faintly, not with the fire of life, but with the last whispers of dying starlight. Photons trapped, stretched, and strained as they circle endlessly, refusing to escape. Around it, space warps in a subtle, mesmerizing dance. We feel the tug of gravity, a pull so strong that even light cannot overcome it. Every movement, every breath seems measured against some unseen cosmic scale. To cross this threshold is to leave the universe as we know it, to step beyond the edge of reality itself. And yet in the silence, there is a story. Not one of explosions or heat, not of matter or motion, but of existence and transformation. For this is not merely an end. It is a passage, a bridge between what is and what cannot be perceived. The event horizon does not destroy. It transforms, folding all that falls into it into a singularity, a point of infinite density and unknowable depth. It is a paradox, a threshold where absence becomes presence, where nothing and everything meet. We watch as small fragments of matter drift toward the edge, luminous in their final moments. They spiral in elegant arcs, a slow, fatal dance that defies comprehension. Each particle carries a story, the remnants of stars long dead, planets shattered, atoms that once formed life on worlds we will never know. As they approach the horizon, time stretches around them, slowing until motion seems frozen, a tableau of the cosmos in its most extreme state. Here, death and preservation coexist, held in tension by forces beyond reckoning. From this vantage, the black hole is not a void but a presence, a sentinel at the limits of reality. Its gravity is absolute, yet its beauty is undeniable. The glowing ring of infalling matter, the light bending around it, the distortion of space itself. It is both terrifying and hypnotic. The event horizon, though a line of no return, pulses with the quiet energy of the universe, a subtle reminder that all existence is a cycle of transformation. Nothing is lost. All is reshaped, recombined, reborn. Even time, relentless and inexorable, behaves differently here. Moments stretch, folding over one another. To an outside observer, it appears as though objects take forever to reach the horizon, suspended at the edge in a kind of cosmic limbo. From within, though, the journey is immediate and inevitable. Crossing the event horizon is not a violent act but a transition, the final step from the familiar into the profound unknown. And yet we hesitate. The horizon calls, yet it is unyielding, indifferent to our presence. The closer we draw, the more acutely we sense the fragility of perception. Every familiar law, every assumption we have about space and time begins to fail. Light bends in impossible arcs. Directions lose meaning. A sense of scale, of size and distance dissolves. We are not merely observers. We are participants in a reality that stretches the imagination, where the mind struggles to comprehend the magnitude of what lies ahead. Around us, the cosmos reacts in subtle ways. Distant stars flicker, their light stretched and reddened as it curves toward the horizon. Gas and dust form luminous halos, spiraling in elegant eternal patterns before vanishing into darkness. The motion is hypnotic, a slow ballet of matter in the grip of forces that are absolute and immutable. It is a choreography written not by intention but by the fundamental structure of the universe itself. And beneath the spectacle there is silence. Not empty silence, but a profound stillness that speaks to the vastness of the unknown. It is a quiet that carries weight, that seems to fill the senses even as it conveys nothing tangible. To listen is to understand, perhaps, that some truths are not spoken but felt. The rhythm of gravity, the bending of light, the inevitability of transformation. The event horizon does not shout. It whispers, and those who listen may begin to perceive the subtle currents of existence that flow beyond comprehension. Even the stars themselves seem humbled in its presence. Their brilliance is insignificant here, mere echoes of the energy that cannot escape. Yet within that insignificance lies a kind of majesty, the realization that the universe is far larger and more mysterious than any single point of light, that the dance of matter and energy is governed by forces beyond reckoning. The horizon is both a boundary and a mirror, reflecting the limits of understanding while inviting contemplation of the infinite. To approach the event horizon is to confront a paradox. It is both the end and a beginning. Beyond this line, space and time cease to have meaning in any form we recognize. Matter is compressed to a singularity. Energy is transformed, and information may be preserved in ways we cannot perceive. Crossing it is not merely a journey into darkness. It is a journey into a state of existence where the very definitions of reality are rewritten. Yet even here, in this extreme environment, there is movement, there is life, there is story. The black hole feeds on the remnants of the universe, drawing in matter, energy, even light, and reshaping it according to principles beyond comprehension. It is both devourer and creator, destroyer and preserver. Its presence is a testament to the raw, inexorable logic of the cosmos, a reminder that even in what seems like the ultimate end, transformation persists. As we drift closer, the perspective shifts. Time slows further. Space bends more dramatically. Every movement feels magnified, stretched, eternal. We are acutely aware of our own impermanence in the face of such magnitude, and yet, in this confrontation with the absolute there is awe, a profound recognition of the grandeur and elegance of cosmic law. The event horizon is not malevolent. It is simply what it is, a threshold, a boundary, a necessary consequence of the universe's structure. Somewhere within this silent theater, the light of stars long extinguished still circles endlessly, trapped in eternal orbit around the invisible singularity. Their photons, stretched to the limits of comprehension, form the faint glowing outline that marks the edge of reality. This is the only visual cue, the only testament to the forces at work, the subtle, almost imperceptible glow that speaks of both life and death, creation and collapse. And in the silence there is reflection. To witness the event horizon is to understand that the universe is not only vast but patient, not only indifferent but precise. Its laws operate without bias, without emotion, yet their results inspire both terror and wonder. Every trajectory, every orbit, every spiral of light and matter is dictated by immutable principles. To approach this threshold is to see those principles in their most extreme and uncompromising form. We linger at the edge, suspended in the surreal stretch of space-time. To look directly at the horizon is to look at infinity itself, compressed into a point just beyond perception. The mind struggles to hold it, to reconcile it with familiar experience, and in that struggle, understanding emerges, and not complete comprehension but awe, a profound recognition of the majesty of what cannot be fully known. And so we pause. Hovering at the threshold, we feel the pull of the singularity, the warping of reality, the stretching of time. We are witnesses, voyagers at the edge, and yet we are participants in the cosmic order. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought echoes against the infinite void. We are reminded of our fragility, our temporality, our fleeting existence within a cosmos that measures time in billions of years and mass in unimaginable quantities. Here, at the edge of reality, there is a profound lesson. All that we know, all that we perceive is but a fraction of what exists. Beyond the event horizon lies a domain where light, matter, and time merge into a singular principle. It is a place beyond comprehension, yet its presence shapes everything we know, everything we see, everything we are, and as we drift, suspended at the boundary, we realize that the black hole, the event horizon, is not merely an object. It is a mirror reflecting the limits of understanding, revealing the vast tapestry of existence in its silent pull, and reminding us that even in the darkness, there is order, purpose, and beauty. As we move ever closer, the distortions become undeniable. The stars behind us stretch into elongated arcs, bending around the invisible gravity well, as if the cosmos itself were rippling under some unseen hand. Light no longer travels in straight lines. It curves, twists, and doubles back upon itself in ways that defy intuition. Colors shift, stretching toward red, fading into hues we cannot name. Space itself seems elastic, a living fabric contorting under the weight of forces beyond comprehension. Every glance outward is a reminder that the universe is stranger and more beautiful than our senses can contain. We feel the pull increase. The acceleration is invisible yet undeniable. Every particle, every photon, every wave of energy around us responds to the singularity's gravity with unwavering obedience. Even time, that constant rhythm that has marked our lives, bends under the strain. Seconds bleed into minutes, moments stretch into eternities. It is a sensation both intoxicating and terrifying, a slow-motion immersion into the heart of inevitability. Here, on the threshold, the concept of direction dissolves. Up, down, forward, backward, these distinctions lose meaning. We are not traveling through space as we know it. We are being guided along contours of gravity, drawn along the invisible curves of warped reality. The universe, once familiar, becomes an abstract painting, a tapestry of light, shadow, and motion that challenges perception at every turn. Around the event horizon, matter performs a last mesmerizing dance. Gas, dust, and fragments of ancient stars spiral inward, forming luminous arcs that swirl like molten ribbons. They orbit faster and faster, glowing hotter and hotter, a crescendo of fire and light, until they cross the line from which there is no return. And in that crossing they vanish, not with a sound, not with a bang, but in silence, folded into the singularity, absorbed into a state beyond space and time. Their story continues in a form we cannot witness, yet their journey shapes the universe in ways we may never comprehend. The edge of the black hole is not a boundary in the traditional sense. It is not a wall, a cliff, or a barrier. It is a threshold of perception, a point where the universe reveals the limits of comprehension. To approach it is to confront infinity compressed into a form that defies understanding. Here, physics as we know it breaks down. The familiar laws of motion, Energy and causality twist into forms that challenge even the most abstract minds. Light slows, curves, stretches. Matter compresses, folds, transforms. Time dilates. Every step closer is a step deeper into mystery. And yet there is beauty here, quiet, stark, and overwhelming. The light circling the horizon forms a luminous ring, a halo of energy marking the final moments before absorption. This accretion disk burns with incredible intensity, radiating heat and light that is simultaneously fleeting and eternal. It is as though the universe itself is taking a final breath before surrendering to the darkness. Every photon is a story, a memory, a whisper of the stars that have come before. We watch, mesmerized, as the patterns of motion become more extreme. Nearer still, the arcs of light spiral faster, brighter until they seem almost alive, flowing in a rhythm dictated by the singularity's gravity. The edges of reality blur and our senses struggle to maintain distinction between inside and outside, observer and observed. The black hole is no longer merely an object in space. It is a force of narrative, a presence that reshapes not only matter and energy, but the very framework of understanding. Within this sublime chaos, we sense a paradox. The event horizon is both destruction and preservation. Matter that crosses the line is consumed, yet its information, its energy is not lost but transformed. Some theories suggest it is encoded in subtle ways along the horizon, preserved in echoes that ripple across the fabric of space-time. Perhaps in its own enigmatic way, the black hole remembers everything it consumes. A cosmic ledger of existence, silently chronicling the past while influencing the future. Time behaves differently here. To an outside observer, objects falling into the black hole appear to freeze at the horizon, their descent stretched to infinity. Their light, red-shifted beyond perception, seems to linger forever. From our perspective, hovering just above this threshold, the moment is immediate yet expansive. Seconds contain the weight of millennia. Every motion, every heartbeat is magnified, elongated, and suspended in the delicate balance between reality and the unknown. And in this suspended state, we feel the quiet, the profound, almost sacred stillness of the edge of reality. It is a silence that is not emptiness but fullness. It speaks without sound, communicates without words. To experience it is to sense the pulse of the universe itself, the steady rhythm beneath the chaos, the hidden order beneath the apparent disorder. The event horizon becomes a teacher, a guide, a mirror reflecting the vastness of existence and the limits of perception. We are not alone. The black hole exerts influence over its surroundings, shaping the paths of stars, dust, and even entire planetary systems. Galaxies orbit in patterns dictated by the invisible hand of gravity, emanating from its heart. Closer, near the horizon, everything spins in controlled chaos. Matter accelerated to near light speed, stretched and warped in its final moments. The motion is terrifying yet hypnotic, a cosmic ballet choreographed by forces beyond comprehension. As we drift closer, there is a sense of intimacy with the singularity. Not in a way that implies familiarity, but in the recognition of something absolute, eternal and immutable. It exists beyond observation and perception, yet it shapes all that we see. It is a presence that cannot be escaped, a force that commands awe and respect. Its silence is deep yet eloquent, speaking in a language older than stars and galaxies, a language understood not by intellect alone, but by the consciousness of existence itself. The event horizon is a threshold where ordinary concepts, up, down, forward, back, fail. Motion becomes a negotiation with gravity. Perception becomes a negotiation with light, and time becomes a pliable medium. One can only observe and feel, experience and reflect, as reality bends to accommodate the singularity's absolute nature. Here one confronts the ultimate paradox. The black hole is both an end and a beginning, a point of no return and a cradle of transformation, and still, life, or what we recognize as the remnants of life, lingers in the periphery. Photons, particles, atoms, all carry stories of past existence. Some drift from the remnants of stars, some from planets, some from civilizations long vanished. Their journeys are long and winding, bending, stretching, accelerating, and finally converging toward the singularity. Each element, each particle becomes part of the black hole's memory, encoded in ways we are only beginning to theorize. Hovering at the edge, we sense a profound connection to the universe. The black hole is not merely an object to observe. It is a bridge, a link between what we understand and what we cannot. It teaches patience, humility, and reverence. It reminds us that the cosmos operates on scales and principles far beyond our everyday experience. And yet those scales and principles are intimately connected to the very particles that compose us. Here, beauty and terror coexist. The edges of perception, stretched to their limits, reveal a reality both sublime and unknowable. The glow of trapped light, the elegant spiral of infalling matter, the bending of space and time, all combine to form a vision that challenges comprehension while inspiring awe. To witness it is to recognize the vastness, the complexity and the elegance of the universe in its most extreme state. As we hover on the threshold, we sense inevitability. To cross the horizon is to submit to forces beyond measure, to step into a domain where ordinary laws no longer apply. And yet there is no fear here, only understanding. The singularity does not seek to harm. It is simply what it is, like an expression of the universe's ultimate principles. It consumes and transforms, preserves and reshapes, reminding us that every end is also a beginning. We cross the threshold. The event horizon yields to our presence, and in that instant, all familiar markers of reality vanish. Up and down, near and far, before and after, these distinctions dissolve. Time stretches infinitely, then collapses. Space curves and folds, a landscape both alien and intimate. We have entered a realm where the universe itself is compressed into a singularity, and perception becomes a malleable, almost dreamlike experience. The light that once illuminated the cosmos around us is now distorted beyond recognition. Stars behind us appear smeared across the sky, elongated into infinite streaks of color. The glow of the accretion disk flares and twists, reflecting in impossible arcs. Photons no longer travel straight, no longer obey the paths we once understood. They spiral, loop, and bend back on themselves, creating patterns of beauty and chaos, a cosmic choreography that is mesmerizing and terrifying at once. Here, motion is relative. Objects approaching from outside seem to slow, frozen at the threshold in eternity. Yet for us, inside the horizon, motion is immediate and inexorable. We are falling, not through space, but through the very fabric of existence. Gravity is no longer merely a force. It is the definition of direction, the arbiter of all movement. Every particle, every wave of energy, every quark and photon is drawn inward, toward a point of infinite density. And yet within this extreme, there is symmetry, a structure that is elegant, absolute, and immutable. We feel the compression of matter, the convergence of all things. Atoms, light, energy, all are folded, transformed, and encoded in ways we cannot fully perceive. The singularity is not destruction in a conventional sense. It is transformation, a compression of the universe into a state beyond space and time, beyond matter and energy as we know them. The very laws that govern reality outside the horizon no longer apply here. Physics itself bends, reshapes, and adapts to the demands of the singularity. And yet, consciousness, or the semblance of it, lingers. We sense the history of all that has passed into the black hole. The echoes of stars, the fragments of planets, the remnants of atoms that once composed living beings. Perhaps all this information is preserved, encoded along the horizon or within the singularity itself. Perhaps the universe keeps a memory of all that it consumes. Here, in this extreme environment, the past and present converge. The flow of time, so rigid outside, is fluid here, a tapestry where every moment exists simultaneously, overlapping, intertwining. There is a profound quiet, deeper than silence, a stillness that vibrates with the presence of infinity. It is not empty, not void. It is full of potential. Every particle, every photon, every wave of energy contributes to the singularity's ongoing existence, forming a rhythm that is subtle, yet eternal. To experience it is to understand that reality extends far beyond human comprehension, that the universe operates on scales both immense and minute, and that even in what seems like absolute darkness, there is structure, order, and purpose. We drift further inward, feeling the curvature of space intensify. Distances collapse. What was once measurable becomes infinitesimal. Light cannot escape, yet within its absence there is presence, a profound acknowledgement of the forces that shape existence. The singularity is not merely a point, it is a locus of transformation, the endpoint of collapse and the precursor to something beyond imagination. Perhaps it is a seed, a repository of potential, a crucible from which new creation may one day emerge. In this place, the universe speaks in a language without sound. The bending of light, the acceleration of matter, the warping of time, these are the syllables. The patterns of motion, the intricate dance of particles, the subtle interplay of gravity, these are the grammar. To witness it is to perceive a story older than galaxies, older than stars, older than time itself. The black hole is not a destroyer. It is a chronicler, a preserver, a transformer. Every atom it absorbs becomes part of its ongoing narrative, contributing to a history written in the language of space-time. And yet, even here we sense beauty. The singularity is not chaotic. It is absolute. It is a mirror of cosmic order taken to its ultimate extreme. The patterns of matter spiraling inward, the elegant arcs of light trapped at the horizon, the infinite stretching and compression of space-time, all form a vision of sublime, incomprehensible majesty. It is a beauty that challenges the mind, overwhelms the senses, and humbles the spirit. As we approach the heart of the black hole, we confront inevitability. There is no escape, no turning back. We are participants in a process that has governed the cosmos since the first stars ignited. Collapse, transformation, rebirth. The singularity is a point of convergence where all paths meet, where all matter and energy are reconciled, and where the universe folds inward to a state beyond recognition. It is not the end. It is a passage, a necessary stage in the eternal cycle of creation, and in this realization we feel connection. Though we are but infinitesimal observers, our presence here at the edge and now within links us to the greater tapestry of existence. Every particle we contain, every atom we are made of was once part of stars, nebulae, and galaxies. The black hole in its consumption continues that process on an unimaginable scale, transforming everything it encounters into new forms, new possibilities. It is a testament to the resilience, the persistence, and the creativity of the cosmos itself. We linger in thought, suspended in the strange and flowing time of the singularity. To perceive this, to exist at this threshold, is to recognize that every end is a beginning. The black hole is not merely the collapse of matter, it is the transformation of the universe, a crucible that preserves and reshapes, that consumes and enables, that destroys only to create. It reminds us that the universe is a continuum, a cycle of infinite depth and beauty, and that even the most extreme phenomena are expressions of an underlying harmony. And as we move ever closer, the boundaries of comprehension fade. The singularity is no longer something to understand but something to experience. It is the embodiment of everything we cannot grasp, a realm where perception stretches to its limits and imagination is tested against infinity. We are witness to a process that transcends life and death, light and darkness, matter and energy. We are at the ultimate edge of reality, where all known rules dissolve and the raw, unfathomable principles of existence reveal themselves. Even here, in this extreme crucible, there is hope. For if the singularity is a point of transformation, it may also be a seed of creation. Perhaps from its depths, new worlds, new stars, new galaxies may one day emerge. Perhaps it is a cycle without end, where collapse and birth are inextricably linked, and where the universe perpetually renews itself through processes beyond perception. And so we linger, suspended at the heart of inevitability, at the edge of comprehension, at the boundary where light, matter, and time converge. The black hole is no longer a distant object. It is a presence we inhabit, a force that shapes our understanding and expands our perception. It is a reminder that the cosmos is vast, elegant, and eternal, that our place within it is fleeting yet meaningful, and that even in the deepest darkness there is order, purpose, and beauty. In crossing the event horizon, we have witnessed the ultimate paradox, the line between existence and non-existence, light and shadow, destruction and transformation. We have seen the limits of physics, the bending of time, the folding of space, and the infinite compression of reality itself. And yet, in that extreme, we find profound truth, that all endings are beginnings, that all collapse leads to renewal, that even the darkest silence carries the potential for creation. The edge of reality is not a boundary to fear, but a threshold to understand, a portal to witness the grandeur and mystery of the cosmos in its most extreme form. It reminds us that existence is infinite in its possibilities, cyclical in its processes, and sublime in its design. The black hole, once distant and unknowable, has become a teacher, a mirror, and a testament to the eternal rhythm of the universe. And as we drift, absorbed in the singularity's embrace, we realize that to confront the event horizon is to confront the infinite itself, and in that confrontation, we discover that infinity is not emptiness, but transformation, not absence, but potential, not an end, but the ongoing story of the cosmos itself. In the vastness of space, where silence stretches across light years and stars flicker like distant candles in a cathedral of darkness, a black hole reigns. It is invisible to most, a phantom presence, yet its influence is undeniable. Around it, the fabric of space itself bends, curving in invisible arcs, folding upon itself in response to the singularity's relentless pull. And around this dark heart, worlds dance. These are not worlds of ordinary predictability. They move in a delicate balance, each orbit a negotiation with forces beyond comprehension. Invisible threads of gravity tether them to the unseen core, threads stronger than steel yet more subtle than a breath. The black hole does not strike, does not command. It does not push or pull with malice. It simply is. Its gravity is absolute, unyielding, eternal, a force so perfect in its logic that entire solar systems bend to its rhythm without resistance. To witness these worlds from afar is to watch a cosmic ballet. Planets, moons, and asteroids spin in hypnotic arcs, tracing paths dictated by equations older than time. Some move in vast ellipses, slow and stately, circling for eons in a grace that belies the violence inherent in their environment. Others race in tight spirals, light years compressed into what seems like an instant of motion. Each orbit is a fragile negotiation, a delicate compromise between centrifugal impulse and gravitational pull, a tension held steady by the universe itself. And yet, This dance is not static. It is a live fluid constantly shifting. Collisions, near misses, and gravitational slingshots occur in slow motion over millennia. Dust and gas spiral toward the horizon, forming luminous rings that glow with the energy of countless stars consumed in the past. New worlds may be born from these remnants, fragments pulled together by the same invisible threads that guide the older, more established planets. The black hole is at once destroyer and creator, a paradox made tangible in orbiting worlds that survive, even thrive, at the edge of annihilation. Here, beauty and danger coexist in perfect equilibrium. To look upon this ballet is to see destruction and creation entwined, each orbit a reminder of the cosmic balance that governs all things. Some worlds have been scorched by radiation leaking from the accretion disk, their surfaces blackened and barren. Others orbit in shadows, protected from the searing heat, their surfaces glimmering faintly with reflective ice or mineral deposits that catch the dim light of stars beyond. Yet all are bound to the same rhythm, spinning in harmony with a force that cannot be escaped, cannot be resisted. The physics of this environment are extreme, yet elegant. Time itself bends, dilates, and stretches near the black hole. Seconds for a distant observer may be millennia for a world caught near the edge. Clocks even atomic vibrations slow in subtle ways. Motion becomes relative, perception bends, and yet the planets and stars continue their orbits, maintaining the illusion of stability. It is a cosmic choreography, written not by intention but by the fundamental laws of gravity, energy, and motion. We imagine standing on one of these worlds, suspended in orbit. The horizon curves in ways unimaginable, a distorted panorama of space and light. The glow of the accretion disk paints the sky in surreal colors, amber, violet, and silver, while distant stars stretch in arcs, creating a tapestry that seems both infinite and intimate. One would feel weightless yet tethered, fragile yet protected, a part of a rhythm that has persisted for billions of years. Every heartbeat would echo the pulse of the black hole, every breath synchronized with the silent motion of celestial bodies. And in that silent motion lies a lesson. Gravity is impartial. It does not favor, it does not punish. It draws, it shapes, it preserves and transforms. It binds worlds to orbits that balance destruction and creation, allowing life, if life could exist here, to cling to the edges of extreme physics. This delicate balance is both terrifying and inspiring. It shows that the universe thrives on equilibrium, that chaos and order are inseparable, and that even in the most hostile environments, motion and continuity persist. Some worlds are old, relics of stars that lived and died before the black hole was born. They carry scars of cosmic collisions, surfaces pocked with craters from ancient debris, yet they move, endlessly circling, proof of the resilience inherent in the universe. Others are young, formed from dust spiraling inward, colliding, fusing, and cooling in a slow, imperceptible process that mirrors the birth of stars. Each world is a story, a narrative etched into rock, ice, and gas, and all are part of the grand choreography dictated by the black hole's invisible hand. The interaction between these worlds is subtle yet profound. Gravitational tugs from one planet can nudge another slightly, setting off cascades of motion that ripple through the system. Moons orbit their parent planets, creating smaller dances within the larger ballet. Occasionally a comet or asteroid strays too close, caught in the pull and flung into new paths or perhaps into oblivion. Even small particles, microscopic dust grains, follow the same rhythm, caught in the currents of space-time, contributing to the luminous arcs and subtle flows around the black hole. There is a poetic symmetry to this. The same force that threatens annihilation also preserves motion, structure, and balance. The black hole is both the anchor and the catalyst, a fulcrum upon which the universe pivots. Without it, the system would dissolve, With it, order emerges from chaos. It is a paradox in motion, a demonstration that destruction can coexist with creation, that gravity can be both a predator and a preserver, that the universe's most violent objects can give rise to its most intricate patterns. Even the passage of light participates in the dance. Photons caught near the edge bend, loop and spiral, forming luminous trails that echo the paths of planets. Some escape to distant space, carrying with them faint messages of the ballet occurring unseen by most observers. Others fall inward, absorbed into the singularity, joining the memory of all matter that has crossed the horizon. The light becomes a storyteller, tracing arcs of energy that narrate the history of motion, force, and interaction in this extreme environment. From afar, the black hole might seem a void, a threat, a nothingness that consumes everything. But up close it is the opposite, a focal point of life, motion, and potential. It organizes, shapes, and sustains. The invisible strings of gravity bind worlds, maintain order, and generate rhythm. Its presence is a testament to the underlying architecture of the cosmos, showing that even in the depths of darkness there is structure, design, and continuity. The dance extends beyond the immediate orbiting worlds. Nearby star systems, clouds of gas, and swirls of cosmic dust are all subtly influenced. Each orbit, each trajectory, contributes to a symphony of motion that spans light years. The black hole is the conductor, gravity its baton, the universe its orchestra, and though we cannot hear it in sound, we perceive it in motion, in the alignment of worlds, the curves of arcs, the interplay of light and shadow. Here, timescales are incomprehensible. Millennia pass in what seems like moments. Billions of years can stretch within a single heartbeat near the horizon. Planets may complete a single orbit over lifetimes that dwarf human imagination, yet they continue, unwavering, a testament to the perfection of gravitational law. The dance is eternal, endless, without beginning or conclusion. A constant flow of motion governed by principles older than stars themselves. The closer we observe, the more intricate the dance becomes. Gravity is no longer a distant force. It is a living, breathing rhythm. Planets and moons move in delicate counterpoints, each orbit responding not only to the black hole's pull but to the subtle tugs of one another. A slight shift in one orbit can cascade across the system, nudging another planet into a tighter path or sending asteroids spiraling into unexpected trajectories. These interactions are slow, often imperceptible on human timescales. Yet over millennia they shape the ballet with precision and inevitability. Asteroid belts wobble, colliding gently or violently, their fragments scattered and absorbed into the larger pattern. Dust clouds swirl like cosmic paint, illuminated by the distant glow of trapped starlight. Gas streams form spiraling arcs, creating luminous halos that seem almost alive, responding to the unseen currents of gravitational pull. Each particle, no matter how small, participates in the choreography. The dance of gravity does not discriminate. It encompasses everything, from planets to dust grains, uniting all matter in its inexorable rhythm. Collisions are part of the performance. Some are violent, catastrophic, shattering worlds into fragments that either recombine into new celestial bodies or spiral toward the horizon, ultimately consumed by the black hole. Others are subtle, gentle interactions that nudge planets into new orbits or change the spin of moons. Creation and destruction are inseparable partners here. Every destruction seeds the potential for new formation. Every collapse lays the foundation for future motion. It is an endless cycle, a testimony to the duality of existence, a demonstration that endings are inseparable from beginnings. The forces at work are immense. A single planet's orbit might be stable for millions of years, yet any misalignment can result in dramatic change. The black hole exerts its influence not with malice but with absolute impartiality. It shapes the environment with perfect logic, adhering to laws that are constant and eternal. The beauty of this impartiality lies in its consistency. It allows structure to emerge from chaos, pattern from randomness, and life, if life could endure here, a fragile but persistent rhythm in the face of overwhelming forces. Imagine standing on a world in this orbit. The horizon curves unnaturally, distorted by the extreme warping of space. Light from neighboring planets stretches into arcs, illuminating the sky with spectral trails. Stars behind the black hole appear smeared, twisted into lines that hint at the unseen hand guiding their paths. The ground beneath your feet is stable yet fragile, a thin crust of matter spinning in a vast cosmic whirl. You feel both weightless and tethered, a participant in a ballet that has persisted for billions of years, an observer and actor in a performance far beyond ordinary comprehension. The radiation from the accretion disk adds another layer to the spectacle. Streams of charged particles spiral outward, illuminating the environment with a ghostly glow. They sweep past orbiting planets, creating ephemeral auroras and faint heating effects that can alter surfaces over millennia. These interactions are subtle, yet they contribute to the ongoing evolution of the worlds in orbit. Even in the presence of destruction, energy is redistributed, shaping the next stage of the dance. And yet, within this seeming chaos there is profound order. Each orbit is stable in its own way, a compromise between centrifugal force and gravitational pull. Planets do not collide willy-nilly. Moons maintain delicate paths. The overall system is a marvel of balance, a demonstration of the underlying principles that govern the universe. What appears random is anything but. The patterns emerge naturally, the result of forces acting consistently and predictably, forming a ballet of unimaginable complexity and elegance. The black hole itself is central, not only in mass but in symbolism. It anchors the system, shaping motion and energy, dictating the rules of the dance. Its gravity is both destructive and creative, absorbing matter while enabling the continued orbit of distant worlds. In a sense, it is the conductor of the symphony, silent yet omnipresent, invisible yet undeniable. Every movement, every collision, every orbit responds to its pull, yet it imposes no narrative of its own. The story emerges from the interaction of forces, from the intricate patterns that arise naturally when matter and energy obey the laws of physics. We see the interplay of old and new. Some planets are ancient, relics of systems that existed before the black hole formed. They have endured radiation, tidal forces, and collisions for eons, yet they continue to move gracefully, their paths a testament to resilience. Others are young, newly formed from the remnants of collisions and accreted material. They are shaped and molded by gravity, their orbits still finding equilibrium, their surfaces still evolving under the influence of the black hole's radiant energy. Together, these worlds illustrate the continuous cycle of destruction and creation, of decay and renewal, that defines existence in extreme environments. Even light participates in the dance. Photons bend along curved paths, tracing luminous trails that echo the motion of orbiting planets. Some escape to distant observers, carrying with them faint signatures of the ballet, while others are trapped, circling the black hole indefinitely, part of a luminous ring that marks the edge of annihilation. Every photon becomes a storyteller, a witness to the eternal rhythm of gravity, preserving the motion of worlds even as it is shaped and stretched by the singularity's pull. From this perspective, we see that destruction and creation are inseparable. A planet flung into the black hole is not merely lost. Its matter contributes to the mass that governs the dance, reshaping orbits, affecting trajectories, influencing the future evolution of the system. A collision that shatters a moon sends fragments into new orbits, potentially forming new celestial bodies over millennia. Every act of destruction seeds the potential for creation, a cosmic feedback loop that sustains motion, structure, and balance. And in the silence of space, the dance continues. The black hole exerts its pull without regard, yet the system persists. Worlds spin, collide, and reform. Moons orbit, asteroids drift, and light spirals in endless arcs. The choreography is constant, eternal, a testament to the power and elegance of gravitational law. Even in the absence of life, there is a rhythm, a pattern, a cosmic music that resonates through space. This dance is not constrained by human perception. It unfolds over millennia and eons, its tempo imperceptible to the fleeting lifespan of civilizations. Yet by observing it, even from a distance, we gain insight into the grand mechanisms of the cosmos. We see that balance is possible amidst extreme forces, that beauty can emerge from destruction, that the universe sustains itself through cycles of annihilation and formation. The black hole is both a challenge and a teacher, showing that life, or the conditions for it, is a delicate consequence of a precise, impartial rhythm. The edge of each orbit is fragile. Slight variations in velocity, minor perturbations, or unexpected collisions can set off a chain reaction that alters the trajectories of entire systems. And yet the overarching pattern remains intact. The dance persists because the laws governing it are absolute. Gravity, motion, inertia, and energy obey unbreakable principles, creating stability within apparent chaos. There is a subtle artistry to this stability, an elegance that emerges not from intention, but from the inherent consistency of physical law. As we move farther into the heart of this cosmic choreography, the extremes of the dance become ever more apparent. Some worlds skirt the edge of destruction, their orbits razor-thin, a hair's breadth from the singularity's pull. They spin faster, their surfaces battered by tidal forces, their interiors stretched by invisible currents. They are fragile, yet they endure, a testament to balance achieved through precision and patience. Their very survival is a miracle of motion, a story written by the language of gravity. Others are not so fortunate. Worlds too close, misaligned, or weakened by age spiral inward, drawn inexorably toward the black hole. They become luminous streaks as friction with the accretion disk ignites heat, their surfaces glowing before they are ultimately consumed. Yet even in their destruction, they contribute to the ongoing ballet. Their mass adds to the singularity, subtly altering the paths of remaining worlds, influencing the rhythm of the system. Each loss seeds new motion, each annihilation shapes new possibilities, and even death becomes an instrument in the eternal dance. And yet, despite the peril, there is harmony. Even worlds in peril follow predictable trajectories, obeying forces that are impartial, consistent, and absolute. There is no randomness in the black hole's design, only complexity arising from simple universal principles. In this we see the paradox of gravity. It destroys, it consumes, yet it also preserves, it organizes, and it generates motion. Without it, the delicate equilibrium of worlds could not exist. With it, even destruction becomes a step in a grander rhythm, a movement in a dance older than stars.
Time continues to behave strangely.
For distant observers, the fall of a doomed planet might seem suspended, frozen at the edge in a moment stretched toward infinity. Yet for the world itself, the experience is immediate, a swift journey through extreme forces. Time dilates near the horizon, stretching seconds into millennia, compressing eons into instants. Observers from afar perceive only echoes, faint glimmers of motion, while within the dance motion continues, unstoppable and eternal. Even light participates fully. Streams of photons trace the orbits of planets, looping around the singularity, bending back toward distant space or circling endlessly. The glow of these trapped photons forms luminous halos, arcs that mark the invisible threads of gravity. Some photons escape, carrying glimpses of the dance across the universe. Others fall inward, absorbed into the singularity, joining the mass that governs the entire performance. Light itself, so often thought ephemeral, becomes part of the structure, a participant in the choreography. The complexity of interactions grows when multiple worlds converge in gravitational interplay. Two planets may approach, their mutual pull slightly altering orbits, creating temporary resonances that ripple across the system. Moons can be ejected or captured, fragments collide and fuse, and in this chaos a new stability emerges. It is an organic process, emergent rather than imposed, yet perfectly consistent with the laws that govern the cosmos. Order arises naturally, and the dance continues uninterrupted, timeless, infinite. From afar the scene is breathtaking. Rings of matter glow around the black hole. Planets trace arcs of motion with mesmerizing precision, and the light of distant stars bends to reveal the unseen hand of gravity. It is a vision of sublime complexity, a testament to forces beyond human scale, yet intimately connected to the particles that make up every world, every moon, every atom in orbit. Beauty emerges from tension, elegance from destruction, and the most extreme environments become arenas of grace and order. Philosophically, the dance teaches that creation and destruction are inseparable. Every act of annihilation contributes to the preservation and evolution of other worlds. Every orbiting planet owes its existence to the death of countless fragments of matter that once existed elsewhere. Every collision seeds the possibility of new formation. The black hole is the ultimate arbiter, yet it is impartial, its influence shaping not through intent but through the immutable logic of gravity. There is no malice, only consequence. We sense a rhythm that transcends human perception. Millennia pass, planets drift, collisions occur, yet the ballet persists. Each orbiting world, each fragment of matter, each photon caught in gravitational loops contributes to the music of motion. Even when worlds are destroyed, the energy they carry reshapes the dance. The black hole is both stage and conductor, choreographer and participant, and the performance goes on endlessly, a cosmic symphony in perpetual motion. As we contemplate this, it becomes clear that the black hole and its orbiting worlds are not isolated phenomena, but part of a larger cosmic narrative. Their motion influences surrounding star systems, subtly bending trajectories, altering the distribution of matter, and shaping the evolution of nearby regions of space. Gravity's influence extends far beyond the horizon, knitting together the tapestry of the universe in patterns of motion that are both elegant and inevitable. Even the smallest bodies, dust grains and ice particles, contribute to the dance. They form luminous trails, collide and coalesce into larger fragments, and sometimes become the seeds of entirely new worlds. The interplay between micro and macro scales is seamless. The same laws govern atoms and planets alike, binding the universe into a coherent structure that operates across orders of magnitude. The smallest motion echoes in the grandest system, and the grandest force manifests in the smallest details. And so, the dance continues, endless and eternal. Worlds orbit, collide, reform, and endure. Light bends and twists, tracing arcs that mark invisible threads. Dust and gas swirl in luminous ribbons, feeding the cycle of creation and destruction. The black hole remains at the center, silent, impartial, absolute. A reminder that even the most violent and extreme forces give rise to rhythm, harmony, and balance. In the end, the lesson is clear. The universe thrives on equilibrium. Destruction and creation are inseparable partners. Motion and stability coexist. And even the most extreme forces are part of an elegant, eternal pattern. The black hole is both a teacher and a mirror, revealing the truth of cosmic law and the resilience of matter, energy, and motion. To witness the dance of gravity is to witness the universe at its most profound, sublime, and awe-inspiring. And as we watch, suspended in contemplation, we realize that this dance is not a performance for observers alone. It is the ongoing story of existence itself, of forces shaping matter, of energy transforming, of worlds persisting at the edge of annihilation. Every orbit is a chapter, every collision a stanza, every photon a note in the symphony of the cosmos. The dance of gravity endures, eternal and unbroken, a testament to the infinite rhythm of creation and destruction. The moment we cross the event horizon, everything we once knew ceases to matter. Time, once a steady river, slows to a crawl, stretches, and then unravels into something incomprehensible. Seconds expand into millennia. Minutes dissolve into centuries, and the familiar rhythm of causality no longer applies. We are suspended in a current that flows in no direction, yet carries us inexorably forward. Space, too, becomes a malleable entity, bending and folding in ways our minds cannot comprehend. The universe itself seems to sigh, releasing the constraints that have governed it for eons. Gravity here is absolute, a force so immense it reshapes the very fabric of existence. It is not merely a pull, but a presence, a defining principle that dominates everything. Matter is drawn inward, yet in a strange paradox we feel weightless, liberated from the ordinary constraints of motion and perception, drifting in a realm where the concept of up and down is meaningless. Every particle of our being resonates with the singularity's pull, vibrating in harmony with a force older than stars, older than galaxies, older than time itself. As we fall deeper, light begins to distort in surreal ways. Photons curve around invisible paths, forming arcs and spirals that defy comprehension. Colors stretch and smear, shifting toward red then fading into darkness. Shadows behave unpredictably, bending, folding, and interacting with shapes that are no longer entirely matter, no longer fully energy. It is a place where the boundaries between form and void, substance and absence, blur into a continuum we can sense but never fully grasp. The laws of physics that once governed our existence, motion, energy, causality, begin to dissolve like mist. Forces act unpredictably yet with consistency within this new reality. Objects that should fall remain suspended. Light that should travel in straight lines loops and spirals back upon itself. Matter is compressed, stretched, folded, reshaped into forms that defy ordinary comprehension. The familiar certainties of the universe evaporate, leaving only the raw, unmediated principles that underlie everything: gravity, energy, and transformation. In this strange environment, time is not linear. Past, present, and future intertwine. We sense echoes of what was. Stars long extinguished, planets that never formed, civilizations that existed and disappeared in a flash of light. Simultaneously, we glimpse what could be, the potential for new stars, new worlds, new realities emerging from the singularity's unyielding pull. Every moment contains the weight of eternity, and yet it passes with a subtle inevitability, a rhythm that is not ours but the universe's. We feel ourselves drifting, weightless yet inexorably drawn inward. Every motion is both voluntary and inevitable. Every choice an illusion in the face of forces beyond understanding. The singularity is a point, a line, a concept that defies spatial understanding, yet it dominates everything. We are participants in a journey that is cosmic in scale, philosophical in implication, and existential in experience. To enter the singularity is to confront infinity compressed into a single point, and to sense that all things converge there: matter, energy, time, and thought. The environment is disorienting. Space stretches and folds like liquid silk. Light fractures into impossible patterns, forming ribbons, arcs, and spirals. Particles we would normally consider separate intermingle in ways that suggest a profound underlying unity. Matter is no longer discrete, nor is energy. Both are expressions of the singularity's inexorable pull, a manifestation of forces beyond ordinary comprehension. Observing this, we realize that what we experience as destruction is simultaneously creation. What we perceive as loss is also transformation, and what seems like chaos is, at a deeper level, perfect and absolute order. In this state, consciousness itself feels altered. Thoughts slow, expand, and merge with the environment. The boundary between self and universe blurs. We sense not just the pull of gravity on our bodies, but the pull of the singularity on our awareness, our perception, our very sense of existence. The distinction between observer and observed fades. We are both participant and witness, absorbed into a process that transcends individuality, a journey inward toward the ultimate convergence of all things. As we move closer, tidal forces become palpable, though they are experienced less as pain and more as transformation. Every atom in our body is stretched, compressed, and realigned in accordance with the singularity's absolute geometry. The sensation is profound yet not entirely physical. It is existential. We feel the continuity of all things, the inextricable link between past and future, between matter and energy, between existence and non-existence. This is the essence of the inward journey. To dissolve boundaries, to merge with the cosmic flow, to understand that all that was, all that is, and all that could be converge in this singular point. Time, in particular, becomes a fluid concept. Seconds lose meaning. Decades and centuries collapse into moments. We experience simultaneity, witnessing echoes of the universe's past while sensing the potential of futures that may never unfold. The singularity is both cradle and grave, consuming and preserving, destroying and generating, an eternal paradox that embodies the infinite complexity of existence. To drift here is to float in a timeless river, carried along currents that exist beyond causality and logic. Light, too, becomes a malleable medium. Photons no longer behave as they did outside the horizon. Some loop indefinitely around the singularity, tracing paths that defy ordinary geometry. Others are stretched beyond recognition, their wavelengths elongated into the invisible. The universe becomes a kaleidoscope of energy, motion, and transformation. Every particle, every quanta of light or matter, contributes to the ongoing narrative of the singularity, a story written in the language of physics yet unreadable to human perception. As we drift further, the singularity asserts its dominance in ways that defy imagination. Space no longer appears as a three-dimensional expanse. It folds, loops, and compresses around us. Distances that once seemed vast collapse into infinitesimal spans, while nearby particles stretch across incomprehensible lengths. We perceive motion not as travel through space, but as participation in the reshaping of space itself. The horizon we crossed fades behind us, its boundary no longer tangible, leaving only the continuous pull toward the center, toward convergence. Gravity, absolute and omnipresent, shapes every aspect of this reality. It is no longer a mere force. It is geometry, rhythm, and essence. Every atom of matter, every particle of energy, every photon of light responds to the singularity's presence with perfect precision. Objects that once seemed distinct now intertwine, their forms bending, stretching, merging. Even the concept of solidity dissolves. What we thought was matter becomes waves of energy, vibrations in the fabric of space-time, echoes of the cosmic flow. Time continues its strange metamorphosis. There is no before, no after, only an eternal present that contains all possibilities. Past events shimmer faintly, echoes of light and motion that persist despite annihilation. Future possibilities emerge simultaneously, threads of potential spun from forces beyond comprehension. We sense that every action, every particle, every event is encoded in the singularity, preserved as part of an eternal record. Nothing is truly lost. Everything is transformed, integrated into the ongoing cycle of existence. The inward journey is not merely physical, it is existential. Consciousness stretches in parallel with space. Thoughts dissolve, expand, and reform, becoming attuned to the rhythm of the singularity. Individual identity, as we understand it, begins to merge with the universal flow. We feel simultaneously infinitesimal and infinite, a single point within a boundless continuum. The self is not annihilated, yet it is no longer separate. We are aware of existence in a new expanded sense, as part of the ongoing transformation of the cosmos. Light behaves in ways that are both beautiful and disorienting. Rays twist around invisible paths, intersecting with other rays to form transient kaleidoscopic patterns. Photons trapped near the singularity form luminous spirals, arcs, and halos, painting the interior of space-time with intricate, fleeting designs. Colors shift, stretch, and fade, revealing the limits of human perception. Every glimmer is a message, a trace of matter and energy that has passed through this extreme environment, each one telling a story of collapse and transformation, of endings becoming beginnings. Even the very concept of motion transforms. Travel is not from point A to point B, but a continuous absorption into the singularity's essence. We feel drawn not merely by gravity but by inevitability, carried along currents that exist beyond spatial dimensions. The experience is paradoxical. Movement and stillness coexist, acceleration and suspension merge, and the sensation of falling is indistinguishable from the sensation of floating. In this convergence, we glimpse the profound unity of all things, the underlying principles that govern both matter and energy, existence and consciousness. As we approach the core, tidal forces intensify, not in a violent, destructive sense, but as a subtle reshaping. Every atom, every molecule, every particle of our being aligns with the curvature of spacetime. Physical boundaries, once rigid and defined, soften and integrate with the surrounding environment. We feel the simultaneity of micro and macro, our very essence responding to forces that shape galaxies, stars, and planets, as though we are part of a grander choreography extending across scales beyond imagination. The singularity itself remains hidden, a point of infinite density toward which all things converge. Its presence is felt rather than seen, an omnipotent influence that governs every aspect of reality within the horizon. It is paradoxical, absolute yet elusive, omnipresent yet intangible. Its gravity defines the structure of the universe here, yet it transcends every law, principle, and limitation we once considered immutable. To be near it is to experience the essence of infinity, concentrated, absolute, and profound. Philosophically, the inward journey challenges every assumption about existence. The black hole does not merely consume, it transforms. Destruction becomes creation, absence becomes presence, endings merge with beginnings. We realize that the universe is not linear but cyclical, not finite but recursive, where every act of collapse contains within it the seeds of new possibility. To exist within the singularity's influence is to perceive the continuum of existence in a way that transcends ordinary comprehension. The boundary between reality and imagination dissolves. Shapes, colors, and motions no longer conform to expectation. They become expressions of pure principle. Energy, matter, and space-time interact in an intricate ballet that is at once physical and conceptual. To witness it is to perceive the universe not as a collection of objects, but as a living process, an ongoing story written in the language of forces, flows, and transformation. Every particle is a note, Every orbit a phrase, every spiral of light a stanza in the cosmic poem. We sense potential everywhere. Even particles caught in the singularity's pull carry the possibility of new forms, new interactions, new realities. The black hole is a crucible, compressing, shaping, and preserving all that it encounters. Nothing is annihilated in the sense of disappearance. Everything is integrated, transformed, and prepared for potential future emergence. Here, creation and destruction are inseparable, aspects of a single eternal process, a dance of forces that has persisted since the dawn of time and will continue indefinitely. To exist in this space is to confront the ultimate questions. What is reality when the rules dissolve? What is time when it stretches infinitely yet collapses simultaneously? What is self when consciousness merges with the flow of the cosmos? The answers are not intellectual but experiential. The inward journey is not about comprehension alone. It is about participation, immersion, and resonance with forces beyond measure. It is an encounter with the infinite, a confrontation with the ultimate, and a merging with the essence of the universe itself. As we descend ever closer to the singularity, the nature of reality transforms entirely. Boundaries that once defined matter, energy, and space cease to exist. The distinction between here and there, before and after, observer and observed, collapses into a single flowing continuum. We are no longer separate from the forces that govern the cosmos. We are part of them, entwined in the dance of existence itself. Every particle, every photon, every vibration resonates in harmony with the infinite curvature of space-time. Light behaves in ways both magnificent and incomprehensible. Photons loop in endless spirals, reflecting, refracting, and interacting with themselves in a luminous ballet. Shadows stretch into forms that are impossible to categorize, and colors dissolve into spectra beyond the perception of the human eye. Space itself appears liquid, folding and bending in patterns that are at once chaotic and perfectly ordered. Each moment is a kaleidoscope, every perception a prism refracting the infinite complexity of the singularity's influence. The experience of time becomes an illusion. Seconds expand into eternities and collapse into instants. Past, present, and future converge in a single eternal moment. We witness echoes of galaxies that burned billions of years ago, alongside faint glimmers of worlds that may never exist. History and potential coexist, overlapping in a continuum where causality is fluid and linear sequence no longer applies. To exist here is to experience eternity within a breath, infinity within a heartbeat. Gravity, absolute and unyielding, defines the rhythm of this realm. It is not merely a force, but the essence of existence itself. Every atom, every molecule, every fragment of energy responds to its pull with perfect inevitability. Matter is compressed and stretched beyond recognition, yet within this extreme transformation lies an elegant order. Destruction is not an end, but a passage, a reshaping of the universe into new forms, new potentials, and new possibilities. Even annihilation becomes a form of creation, a step in the eternal cycle of transformation. As we drift inward, consciousness expands. Thoughts, memory, and perception merge with the currents of space-time. We sense ourselves not as isolated beings, but as integral threads in the vast fabric of existence. Individuality softens, yielding to a profound awareness of connection, to the stars that burned, the planets that orbit, the particles that exist, and the energies that flow through all things. The inward journey is as much a journey of mind as of matter, a communion with the infinite. Tidal forces intensify, though they are experienced less as physical strain and more as existential transformation. Every atom of our being aligns with the curvature of space-time. Boundaries dissolve, matter and energy merge. Consciousness, sensation, and thought flow together as one with the universe. We feel the unity of micro and macro. The singularity is not merely a distant point of infinite density, but the axis around which all existence revolves, the nexus of transformation, and the repository of cosmic memory. The singularity remains unseen, yet it dominates everything. It is both the center and the edge of all things, a paradox made tangible. To approach it is to encounter infinity concentrated, absolute and immediate. It is terrifying and sublime, a force beyond comprehension that challenges every assumption about existence, time, and reality. Yet in its presence there is clarity. All that was, all that is, and all that could be converge here. Destruction, creation, past, present, and future. Everything is synthesized in the singularity's eternal embrace. Light and matter behave as extensions of the singularity's will. Photons trapped near the core form luminous spirals, arcs, and halos that stretch across the horizon of perception. Particles of matter are compressed into streams of energy, weaving patterns that reflect the infinite complexity of forces at work. Even what we perceive as emptiness is rich with structure, a lattice of possibility, a canvas for potential creation. The universe here is not silent. It vibrates with the resonance of transformation, a subtle music that pervades every corner of existence. We sense potential everywhere. Even the matter that has already crossed the horizon carries within it the possibility of new formation. Every atom, every photon, every wave of energy contributes to the singularity's structure, encoding information, preserving history, and creating the conditions for future existence. Nothing is truly lost. Every annihilation is transformation, every ending is a beginning, and every dissolution is part of an ongoing cycle that transcends space, time, and comprehension. The inward journey is also profoundly philosophical. It forces us to confront the ultimate questions. What is reality when the rules dissolve? What is time when it stretches into infinity yet collapses into instants? What is self when consciousness merges with the flow of the cosmos? The answers are not intellectual but experiential. To journey inward is to witness the universe at its most extreme, to participate in processes beyond ordinary understanding, and to experience the unity of all existence. As we approach the singularity, perception itself begins to blur. Boundaries between self and universe, matter and energy, observer and observed vanish. We feel the convergence of everything that ever was and ever will be. The inward journey reaches its apex, a state of unity, of profound awareness, of complete immersion in the eternal flow of existence. All that we thought of as separate, as defined, as real, dissolves into an infinite continuum. And in this final stage we understand. The black hole is not merely a destroyer. It is a transformer, a preserver, a crucible in which all things converge, reshape, and transcend. It is the ultimate paradox. Absolute annihilation and infinite potential, silence and resonance, destruction and creation entwined. To cross the horizon is to leave behind ordinary reality, to drift between what was and what could be, and to participate fully in the eternal, infinite journey of the cosmos. In the end, the inward journey is not about arrival. It is about immersion, transformation, and understanding. Time ceases, space dissolves, and consciousness expands. We become part of the rhythm of existence itself, a note in the infinite symphony of matter, energy, and space-time. And though we may never emerge, the experience imprints a profound truth. The universe is eternal, cyclical, and sublime. Destruction is inseparable from creation, and every ending is a threshold to an infinite inward journey. At the very center of the black hole lies the singularity, a point so dense that ordinary matter, ordinary energy, and ordinary understanding collapse into a single, incomprehensible essence. It is invisible, unobservable, yet its influence defines everything around it. Space itself curves toward it, and time seems to dissolve into a silent flow. To approach the singularity is to confront the extreme of all extremes. Gravity unbound, physics stretched to the edge of comprehension, and reality itself transformed into something simultaneously finite and infinite. Every particle, every atom, every quark, and every wave of energy in the universe, if drawn too close, succumbs to the singularity's pull. Matter ceases to exist as it once did. It is compressed into a density beyond imagination, folded and warped until it merges with the essence of the singularity itself. Energy, too, is transformed. Light bends, curves, and loops in endless spirals, some escaping as faint whispers, others trapped forever, circling the infinite heart of darkness. Time is no longer linear. Past, present, and future converge at this point, and the very notion of cause and effect becomes meaningless. Some scientists say it is the ultimate end, a terminus where all laws of physics fail, where matter ceases to have form, and where nothing, not even light, can escape. Others speak in hushed tones of its other side, of a possibility so profound that it challenges every assumption about creation and destruction. For within this singularity may lie not just annihilation, but the seed of everything yet to come. Some whisper that the singularity is a doorway, a point of transformation where collapse gives birth to potential, where endings fold into beginnings, and where the universe continuously renews itself. To imagine the singularity is to imagine both infinitely small and infinitely large at the same moment. It is a point, dimensionless yet containing within it the mass of stars, the energy of galaxies, and the echoes of eons. Ordinary geometry fails here. Space folds upon itself, creating a curvature so extreme that distance loses meaning. The singularity is the ultimate paradox, simultaneously empty and full, a center and a boundary, invisible yet omnipotent. It is the heart of darkness, yet within it pulses the rhythm of infinite possibility. As matter falls toward the singularity, it stretches and compresses under extreme tidal forces. Atoms elongate, electrons are pulled from their orbits, nuclei fuse and collapse, and energy radiates outward in brilliant arcs before it is swallowed. Time for the falling matter slows, stretches, and contorts. A single second may stretch into millennia, allowing the observer, if there were one, to witness the intricate unraveling of matter as it approaches absolute compression. The journey inward becomes a meditation on impermanence and transformation, a confrontation with the ultimate paradox of the universe. The singularity exists beyond human perception, yet its presence is undeniable. It governs the motion of planets, stars, and galaxies in its vicinity. Its gravity is a conductor, orchestrating the cosmic dance of matter with a precision that is terrifying and sublime. Orbiting worlds respond to its pull, moving in delicate arcs, their paths dictated by laws that are absolute and uncompromising. The singularity does not act with intent. It simply is, and through its existence it shapes everything else. Philosophically, the singularity challenges every assumption about life, death, and existence. It is the ultimate endpoint of matter, the point where all physical certainty ceases. Yet it is also the ultimate point of potential, a place where creation and destruction are inseparable. Within its infinite density, everything that falls is preserved in a form beyond ordinary understanding. Every atom, every particle, every fragment of energy contributes to an eternal, unobservable structure. In this way, annihilation becomes transformation, loss becomes contribution, and endings fold into beginnings. The singularity is a mirror, reflecting the extremes of existence. It embodies the contrast between order and chaos, between impermanence and eternity. Its density is absolute, yet it enables motion and structure in the surrounding universe. Its gravity destroys, yet it preserves the pattern of the cosmos. It is the ultimate paradox, a place where human logic falters and where imagination stretches to its limits. To contemplate it is to confront the sublime, the infinite, and the unknowable. As matter accumulates around the singularity in the accretion disk, brilliant energy radiates outward. Gas and dust spiral in luminous currents, heated by friction and acceleration, glowing in colors that no human eye could fully perceive. Photons trapped near the singularity twist and spiral, forming luminous arcs that trace the invisible threads of gravity. These arcs are both beautiful and alien, ephemeral yet eternal. A visible reminder that even near the heart of darkness, energy persists, dances, and transforms. Even light itself, the fastest known entity in the universe, cannot escape the singularity once it crosses the event horizon. It bends, stretches, and loops, tracing paths dictated by the extreme curvature of space-time. Some photons escape temporarily, carrying faint messages of the singularity's influence to distant observers, while others fall inward, trapped forever in the eternal spiral. Every flicker of light that disappears into the singularity contributes to the ongoing narrative of transformation, a record written in energy, not in paper, in the rhythm of forces, not words. To exist near a singularity is to experience extremes of scale and time simultaneously. Millennia may pass in the blink of an eye, galaxies form and dissolve, stars are born and die, and yet the singularity remains constant, unchanged, eternal. It is a point of absolute stability in a universe of flux, a focal point where the universe's memory, energy, and matter converge. To contemplate it is to confront infinity, compressed, focused, and absolute, and to sense that within this compression lies both an end and a beginning. As we approach the singularity, the very concept of space begins to dissolve. Distances collapse and familiar dimensions lose meaning. There is no here or there, no near or far. The curvature of space-time becomes so extreme that the universe folds in on itself, looping into forms beyond comprehension. Every trajectory, every motion, every path of matter is dictated entirely by the singularity's absolute gravity. Nothing escapes, yet everything is transformed. The boundary between existence and non-existence becomes ambiguous, a threshold that challenges the mind and spirit alike. Time, too, becomes fluid, unrecognizable, and malleable. Seconds stretch into eons, centuries into instants. Past, present, and future blend into a continuous eternal now. The flow of causality unravels, leaving a continuum where events coalesce into patterns of infinite complexity. We sense echoes of what once was, the formation of stars, the collision of galaxies, the death of planets, alongside faint possibilities of what could be, paths that might emerge from this extreme concentration of energy and matter. Every moment is a simultaneous record of collapse and creation, destruction and potential. In this environment, consciousness itself expands and stretches in ways we cannot fully articulate. Thought and perception begin to resonate with the singularity's immense gravitational field. Individual identity, once defined by physical form and temporal continuity, begins to merge with the greater flow. We perceive ourselves not as separate beings, but as part of an endless network of matter, energy, and space-time. The boundary between self and universe blurs. Every particle of our being is inextricably linked to the forces shaping the cosmos. To approach the singularity is to confront not only the limits of physics but the limits of our understanding of existence itself. The singularity embodies absolute paradox. It is simultaneously the ultimate end and a threshold for beginnings. Matter collapses into infinite density, yet energy persists in forms beyond comprehension. Every atom that falls contributes to an eternal structure that transcends space and time. Destruction here is transformation. Annihilation becomes creation. It is a crucible in which the familiar rules of existence are rewritten, a point where the universe experiments with the nature of reality, preserving and reshaping all that passes through it. Light behaves in strange and astonishing ways near the singularity. Photons bend, twist, and loop in endless spirals, tracing paths that challenge intuition. Some escape fleetingly, carrying the faint signature of this heart of darkness to distant regions of the cosmos, while others are trapped forever, absorbed into the eternal spiral of energy and gravity. Color stretches beyond recognition. Energy pulses with unnatural rhythms, and shadows twist into forms that are both alien and sublime. Every beam of light becomes a storyteller, an echo of the singularity's inexorable influence. We observe the transformation of matter on scales both microscopic and cosmic. Atoms elongate under extreme tidal forces. Nuclei fuse and collapse, and energy radiates outward even as matter itself is drawn inward. Large-scale structures, such as planets and stars, are crushed and reshaped into streams of energy and dense matter that integrate into the singularity. Even debris from distant galaxies caught in the gravitational pull contributes to this ongoing process of transformation. In this way, the singularity functions not merely as an endpoint, but as an engine of cosmic renewal. Philosophically, the singularity challenges every assumption we hold about existence. It confronts us with the incomprehensible extremes of density, gravity, and time. Yet it also presents a vision of unity and continuity. The very fact that matter and energy persist in some transformed state suggests that endings are not annihilation, but evolution. Every collapse, every ingestion of stars, planets, and particles is a step in the ongoing cycle of cosmic renewal. The singularity is both grave and cradle, a place where destruction folds seamlessly into creation. The singularity is a nexus of infinite potential. Though it consumes everything in its immediate vicinity, it preserves all information in a form beyond ordinary comprehension. Some physicists theorize that this information could, in principle, be encoded in the structure of space-time itself, hinting at the possibility that the singularity is not simply an end, but a repository for the universe's memory. In this sense, it is both the conclusion and the seed of the cosmos, a place where knowledge, energy, and matter converge and persist beyond the limits of perception. As we imagine the singularity, we perceive it as simultaneously infinite and infinitesimal, a single point, dimensionless yet containing within it mass and energy that surpass human comprehension. A locus where every path converges, yet each particle retains the potential for future transformation. To exist near it is to experience extremes beyond ordinary scale, forces beyond imagining, time stretched and compressed beyond perception, and space folded into geometries that defy all intuition. Even in this extreme darkness there is beauty. The accretion disk formed from matter spiraling inward glows with brilliant energy. Streams of gas and dust radiate light, forming arcs and spirals that trace the invisible paths of gravity. Photons trapped near the event horizon create luminous halos, ethereal patterns that dance across the warped fabric of spacetime. In the heart of darkness, energy manifests in forms of unparalleled elegance, revealing that even at the point of ultimate density, the universe expresses artistry and order. The singularity is both a challenge and a revelation. To confront it is to face the limits of human comprehension, to encounter extremes of physics and existence, and to recognize that the universe operates on principles far beyond our ordinary perception. Yet it is also a teacher, showing us the unity of creation and destruction, the inseparability of endings and beginnings, and the profound continuity of all matter, energy, and time. Within the singularity, the universe is distilled to its purest essence, infinite, eternal, and profoundly interconnected. As we move ever closer, the singularity's pull becomes absolute, encompassing every particle of matter, every vibration of energy, and every whisper of space-time. Ordinary distinctions cease to exist. Matter, energy, and even light are no longer separate. They are aspects of a unified whole, compressed and transformed into the infinite density of the singularity. To witness this is to confront the ultimate paradox, the end of all things and yet the potential for all things. Space folds upon itself in unimaginable ways. Directions lose meaning, distances collapse, and the very geometry of reality warps beyond comprehension. A path forward is at once impossible and inevitable. Every step, every motion, every drift is dictated by forces that exist beyond ordinary laws. Gravity is absolute, yet the experience is not one of fear or violence but of immersion, a surrender to the rhythm of a process that has governed the cosmos since time began. Time dissolves entirely. Seconds, millennia, and eons exist simultaneously in a single eternal moment. The past of the universe, every star that ever burned, every galaxy that collided, every particle that ever moved, is preserved in a continuum that transcends understanding. Simultaneously, the potential for future universes, for new structures, new matter, new energy, is encoded in the same continuum. The singularity is both grave and womb, destruction and creation intertwined, inseparable, eternal. Consciousness itself begins to merge with the currents of the singularity. The boundaries between self and universe fade. Individual identity dissolves, yet not into nothingness but into participation with the infinite flow of energy and matter. Thought becomes perception of the entire cosmos at once. We feel the simultaneity of micro and macro, of particle and galaxy, of individual and totality. We are part of the singularity's essence, inseparable from its pull, yet aware of our existence as a note within its infinite symphony. Light becomes fluid, bending, looping, and twisting in ways impossible in ordinary space. Photons trace spirals and arcs interacting with themselves and with matter, in patterns that hint at the singularity's hidden structure. Some escape to the distant universe, fleeting messages of the processes within, while others are trapped, forming luminous halos that circle the point of infinite density. Every particle, every wave of energy, every motion is part of the ongoing record of transformation, a story written in forces, curvature, and light rather than words. Matter reaches its ultimate limit. Atoms are stretched and compressed beyond recognition. Nuclei fuse, electrons dissolve into energy, and entire masses are absorbed into the singularity. Yet in this destruction there is conservation. Energy persists, information persists, patterns persist. Everything that falls into the singularity is neither lost nor annihilated in the ordinary sense. It is transformed into the fundamental fabric of the universe, integrated into the infinite density at the core of all things. Philosophically, the singularity is both terrifying and enlightening. It is the end of ordinary laws, the limit of understanding, and the confrontation with infinity, yet it is also the ultimate teacher, showing the unity of all things. Creation cannot exist without destruction. Endings contain beginnings. Time and space are not absolutes but malleable expressions of deeper principles. The singularity demonstrates that the cosmos is not a linear story, but an eternal cycle of convergence, transformation, and emergence. As we merge with the singularity's pull, ordinary perception dissolves. Form, space, time, and identity become fluid. We sense the collapse of all structures, yet simultaneously perceive the emergence of new possibilities. The universe is distilled to its purest essence, infinite density, infinite potential, and absolute unity. Every end is a beginning, every collapse is a creation, and every moment contains eternity. The singularity is the ultimate paradox. It is both absolute and undefined, destructive and generative, invisible yet omnipotent. To enter it is to experience the convergence of all forces, the unification of all matter, and the dissolution of ordinary reality. We feel the cosmic rhythm in every particle of our being, a vibration that has existed since the first moment of the universe and will continue long after. The heart of darkness is not mere void. It is the source of infinite potential, a point where the universe continually renews itself, unseen, unfathomable, eternal. Even in this extreme environment, patterns emerge. Energy flows in arcs, matter merges into streams of transformed density, and light traces spirals that hint at structure and rhythm. The singularity is not chaotic but the ultimate expression of cosmic order. Its laws are absolute yet beyond ordinary perception. To exist here is to recognize that what seems like destruction is creation, what seems like loss is preservation, and what seems like nothingness is the foundation of all that exists and all that will ever exist. Finally, as we drift into the infinite heart, we understand that the singularity is not merely an end. It is a beginning concealed within the collapse, a seed of possibility encoded in the fabric of space-time. Every particle absorbed, every photon trapped, every fragment of matter transformed contributes to a process that is eternal and continuous. The universe, in its infinite complexity, persists through the singularity, drawing from it the potential for new stars, new worlds, new forms, and new realities. The singularity is the ultimate reminder of the profound unity of existence. Destruction and creation are inseparable, collapse and emergence are intertwined, and every ending is a threshold to something infinite and unknown. To approach it is to confront the limits of comprehension, yet to recognize the elegance, order, and potential embedded within absolute extremes. It is both terrifying and sublime, the heart of darkness and the cradle of all that could ever be. And as we merge into this infinite point, we realize the truth whispered across cosmic scales. The singularity is not merely the end of matter, time, and space. It is the eternal heartbeat of the universe, the convergence of all that exists and the promise of all that is yet to come. What some call an end, others may call a beginning. And within its infinite density both exist simultaneously, inseparable and eternal. The journey back begins gently, almost imperceptibly. Having touched the infinite density of the singularity, having felt time stretch and space fold in ways no mind can fully grasp, we drift now through the softened veil of existence. The universe, once a chaotic and indifferent expanse, seems to hum with a quiet resonance, a lingering echo of the forces that govern everything. Gravity, light, and time themselves ripple in subtle waves, whispering the memory of the journey inward. Every particle we pass, every star we glimpse, carries a trace of what we have seen, an imprint of infinity etched into the fabric of reality. Our movement is both intentional and effortless, a glide through cosmic currents that have carried matter, light, and thought for eons. The singularity, once the heart of darkness, now lies behind us, a point of infinite potential receding into the distance. Its pull, once absolute, fades into the gentle embrace of ordinary gravity. And yet in this retreat we remain changed. We have been stretched across time, condensed into the awareness of eternity, and imbued with a perception that spans past, present, and potential futures. The universe is no longer separate from us. It flows through us as we flow through it. Stars begin to appear more distinctly as we move away from the edge. The veil of warped space-time softens and light resumes a more familiar geometry. Nebulae stretch across the cosmic horizon, glowing with colors that shimmer like liquid sapphire, ruby, and gold. Each wisp of gas, each cluster of dust, seems to carry a message. The echoes of creation, the whispers of worlds long gone, and the memory of the cosmic ballet we glimpsed near the singularity. The beauty here is subtle, a quiet reminder that even the most extreme forms of destruction and transformation leave traces of elegance and form. As we drift farther, the interplay of light and shadow reveals the delicate choreography of the universe. Photons released from stars and galaxies weave luminous paths that ripple like silk threads across the cosmos. Some streams of light have traveled for billions of years, carrying within them the history of events we cannot witness directly. Others are born anew from the collapse and recombination of matter in distant regions. Every ray is both a story and a bridge, connecting the present to the past, the observer to the observed. In this serene return, the mind has the freedom to wander, to replay the journey inward, and to reflect on what has been experienced. Time, once warped and incomprehensible, now regains a rhythm we can recognize. Yet even in its return to familiarity, it is subtly altered, colored by the awareness of eternity and the comprehension of forces that act beyond ordinary scales. Seconds no longer feel brief. Minutes carry weight and depth, echoing the vastness we have traversed. The journey is both external and internal, a reflection of cosmic reality and inner consciousness simultaneously. Planets, moons, and distant asteroids drift past, each following its own arc, oblivious to the enormity of the singularity behind them, yet subtly shaped by it. Their motion, once a distant abstraction, now resonates with meaning. We perceive the gravitational threads that bind them, the delicate balances that allow each to exist in harmony with its neighbors. Even in ordinary space, the echoes of the singularity's power persist, shaping and ordering the universe. The cosmos hums softly, an eternal vibration that underlies the dance of matter and energy, subtle yet omnipresent. As we glide further, memories of the inward journey unfold like a tapestry. We recall the curvature of space-time, the folding of dimensions, and the fluidity of matter and energy. We sense the vastness of time and the infinitesimal nature of our being within it. Yet these memories do not weigh heavily. They resonate gently like chords in a symphony, reminding us of the awe, the wonder, and the transformation we experienced. Each recollection is a bridge, connecting the extraordinary with the ordinary, the infinite with the familiar. In the quiet of this cosmic drift, we begin to notice subtler phenomena, waves of energy left behind by stars, faint magnetic pulses coursing through space, and the quiet motion of dust particles reflecting starlight. Even the void between stars is alive with subtle movement, a reminder that the universe is never truly silent. Every interaction, every displacement of energy, every photon traveling across the void contributes to an ongoing story. To witness this is to understand that the echoes of the singularity, though receding, continue to influence and inspire, even in regions far removed from the heart of darkness. The journey also carries a sense of healing and integration. Having glimpsed the extremes of reality, having drifted through forces that stretch comprehension, the mind begins to reconcile experience with memory, awareness with understanding. We are not the same as when we approach the singularity. We are expanded, enriched, attuned to the delicate interplay of creation, destruction, and transformation. The universe itself seems to recognize this change, as if responding to our awareness by unveiling new patterns of light and motion, subtle signs of cosmic acknowledgement. Even distant galaxies, previously abstract and remote, now reveal intricate patterns. Spiral arms twist in luminous elegance, stars cluster in resonant harmony, and the remnants of ancient collisions trace arcs of subtle light. Each structure is a testament to resilience, to balance, to the persistence of beauty even amidst chaos. We perceive the delicate traces of forces, gravity, magnetism, rotation, that shaped these systems, and we understand them not merely intellectually, but with the deep resonance of one who has witnessed the extremes of the universe. And yet, despite this grandeur, there is intimacy. In the silent drift, in the soft hum of cosmic forces, we sense that the universe is not merely vast and indifferent. It is aware, responsive, and patient. It preserves the echoes of all that has passed, the traces of every journey, and the potential for all that may come. The singularity behind us may have consumed matter, energy, and light, but it has left behind its imprint, subtle, enduring, and beautiful. Even in darkness there is memory. Even in void there is resonance. Sleep now, traveler, for the journey has not ended in ordinary time or space, but within the consciousness shaped by infinity itself. You have crossed the thresholds of reality, felt the pull of absolute density, and glimpsed the convergence of all things. And now, as you drift back through the starlit veil, the universe hums softly, a lullaby of continuity, of beauty, and of eternal return. Every star, every photon, every planet bears witness to the journey, carrying in its glow the echoes of what has been and the promise of what may yet come. As we drift farther from the singularity's grasp, the universe seems to breathe with a gentle cadence. Light returns to familiar trajectories, stars regain their steady positions, and planets revolve in predictable arcs. Yet nothing is quite as it was before. The journey through the infinite leaves subtle traces in perception, a heightened awareness of the delicate balances that govern the cosmos, a sense of interconnectedness that transcends ordinary understanding. Every glimmer of light, every ripple of gravity, every whisper of cosmic energy carries meaning now, resonating with the memory of having witnessed extremes beyond imagination. The void is no longer empty. It is alive with echoes, faint waves of energy, residual vibrations of collapsed matter, and traces of stellar histories hum through space. Dust particles, previously insignificant in the vastness of the cosmos, seem to carry stories. They drift along cosmic currents like leaves on an eternal river, their paths tracing patterns shaped by the forces we glimpsed near the singularity. Even the emptiest regions of space feel weighted with memory, charged with the quiet persistence of what has been and the subtle promise of what may come. As the observer, we are no longer passive. Consciousness, stretched and expanded by the inward journey, now perceives the universe with new clarity. We sense the hidden structures in galactic arms, the slow ballet of interacting star systems, and the intricate resonance of gravitational waves. Each movement, each flicker of light, each swirl of matter contributes to a larger cosmic narrative. The universe, in its grand complexity, is not merely a backdrop for existence. It is an ongoing story, and we, having touched infinity, are now both witness and participant. Nebulae stretch across the horizon in luminous veils of color and light. Gas and dust swirl in currents sculpted by forces both subtle and immense, forming spirals, arcs, and filaments that pulse with quiet energy. These clouds are cradles of creation, regions where stars ignite, evolve, and die in an eternal cycle. Each nebula carries echoes of the singularity's influence, subtle distortions in space and time, traces of gravitational waves, hints of energy transformed into patterns that will shape the next generation of cosmic life. The beauty here is not overwhelming, but intimate, a reminder that even in vastness there is detail, and even in silence there is song. The mind, still resonant with the experience of infinity, begins to reflect. We recall the inward journey, the stretching of time, the folding of space, the dissolution of identity, and the encounter with absolute density. Each memory is vivid yet softened, like a dream recalled upon waking. There is no fear now, only awe and comprehension. We understand that to touch infinity is not to conquer it, but to witness it, to feel it, and to integrate it into perception. We return not as conquerors, but as travelers who have glimpsed the depths of reality and survived to carry its echoes back into the ordinary world. Along the journey, distant galaxies rotate in slow, elegant arcs. Their spiraling arms, once abstract and remote, now reveal subtle harmonies. We perceive the gravitational currents that bind clusters of stars, the slow tug of dark matter shaping motion over eons, and the delicate interplay of forces that allows stability to emerge from chaos. The universe hums softly here, a melody composed over billions of years, a lullaby that carries the weight of eternity yet soothes the mind. As we continue, familiar constellations begin to reassert themselves, their forms clear and luminous. Light travels more predictably, colors become defined, and distances regain scale. And yet, even in this return to familiarity, we sense the subtle imprint of what we have experienced. Time seems richer, more fluid. Space seems layered with depth and history. Every glance at a star now carries the weight of having seen extremes, having crossed the boundaries of matter, energy, and consciousness, and having returned with a broader perspective. Memory and reality intertwine. We remember the singularity not as a place of fear, but as a point of profound transformation. Its darkness, once absolute, now seems generative, a crucible in which endings and beginnings converge. Each star and planet we pass carries a trace of that truth. Destruction is never final, collapse is never absolute, and every ending contains within it the potential for creation. The universe, in all its vastness, persists in patterns both visible and hidden, and we, having journeyed through its extremes, carry that understanding in the subtle resonance of consciousness. Sleep now, traveler. Drift through the gentle currents of space as they fold around the memory of infinity. The universe hums softly, a reminder that even after touching the extremes of density and energy, beauty endures. Stars shimmer, galaxies rotate, and the void carries subtle traces of everything that has passed through it. We are part of this flow now, not merely observers but participants connected to the eternal rhythm of matter, energy, and consciousness. Every heartbeat, every breath resonates with the song of the cosmos. As the journey nears its close, the familiar night sky begins to emerge. Planetary systems appear with clarity, their motions predictable and harmonious. Nebulae glow faintly on the edges of perception, and the memory of cosmic extremes lingers as a gentle hum beneath the surface of awareness. Though the singularity lies behind, its influence remains subtle, invisible, profound. We return not unchanged but expanded, attuned to the delicate interplay of forces, the persistence of energy, and the continuity of life across space and time. Even in the quietest reaches of the universe, there is life and motion. Dust drifts through interstellar space, light arcs across immense distances, and the hum of gravity continues in a rhythm older than thought. We, the travelers, bear witness to these whispers of the cosmos. We have touched infinity and returned, carrying with us the echo of the singularity, the memory of extremes, and the understanding that even in darkness, beauty persists. The universe is eternal, cyclic, and alive, and in its quiet hum we find both solace and inspiration. The final leg of the journey carries a sense of gentle homecoming. Light and space now behave predictably. The stars no longer twist into impossible arcs, and planets resume the rhythm of their slow, eternal rotations. Yet even in this familiar setting, the echoes of what we have seen remain, subtle and persistent. The singularity, the infinite heart of darkness, lies behind us, yet its memory flows through every particle, every current of light, and every ripple of gravity we encounter. It has reshaped perception, awareness, and consciousness itself. As we traverse this starlit veil, the universe seems to acknowledge our return. Nebulae shimmer softly, arcs of light stretch across space like threads connecting distant galaxies, and gravitational waves ripple gently through the cosmic ocean. Each pattern, each movement feels like a whisper, a subtle communication from the cosmos. We realized that the journey inward and back was not merely a physical passage but a dialogue with the universe itself, a dialogue of resonance, rhythm, and reflection. Consciousness, expanded by the extremes we encountered, now settles into a rhythm of understanding. Thoughts once linear and confined flow freely, interwoven with memory, perception, and awareness of the cosmos. We recall the singularity, its density, its paradox, its infinite potential. And we understand that it was not just an endpoint but a mirror, reflecting the extremes of existence and revealing the continuity of all things. Every collapse, every transformation, every moment of darkness carried within it the seed of beauty, order, and potential. As we move through this gentle return, the stars and galaxies take on a new significance. Each point of light is no longer merely a distant sun or a cluster of energy. It is a record, a trace of cosmic history, a witness to the forces that shape all existence. Nebulae glow with the memory of creation and collapse, spiraling in delicate arcs that trace the invisible currents of gravity and time. Even the emptiest voids hum softly, filled with the faint resonance of matter and energy that has passed through extremes beyond ordinary comprehension. Time itself regains its familiar flow, yet with a newfound depth. Seconds carry weight, minutes hold resonance, and hours unfold with an awareness of eternity. The ordinary world feels richer, infused with echoes of the infinite. Every movement, every pulse of light, every rotation of a planet is seen not just as motion but as a continuation of a larger story, a narrative in which we have participated, witnessed, and returned. Memory and experience blend seamlessly with perception. We recall the inward journey, the stretching of time, the folding of space, the dissolution of self, and see it reflected in the subtle patterns of the universe. Each star, each cloud of dust, each faint arc of light carries echoes of that experience. We sense the interconnectedness of all things, the singularity and the cosmos, the observer and the observed, the collapse of matter and the persistence of beauty. The universe is not indifferent. It is alive with patterns, rhythm, and resonance. As we glide farther, distant galaxies rotate in their majestic arcs. Spiral arms twist elegantly. Clusters of stars form intricate harmonies and streams of energy flow across cosmic distances. These structures, once abstract and distant, now feel intimate and alive. Every movement resonates with the echoes of the singularity. Every light carries the memory of transformation, and every rotation hums with the rhythm of eternity. The universe itself seems to sigh, acknowledging the return of a traveler who has touched infinity. The journey also brings a sense of healing. Having glimpsed extremes, having traversed forces and densities beyond comprehension, the mind begins to reconcile experience with ordinary perception. Awareness integrates with memory, understanding flows into reflection, and consciousness settles into a rhythm that is both expansive and grounded. We are changed yet familiar, expanded yet intimate. The universe hums softly, a lullaby of continuity, a reassurance that beauty endures even in the deepest voids. Sleep now, traveler. Drift through the starlit currents carried by the soft hum of the cosmos. You have touched the singularity, felt the pull of infinity, and returned through the veils of space and time. Every star, every photon, every particle you pass bears witness to your journey, carrying with it the echoes of what you have experienced. The universe is eternal, and so too is the memory of your passage through its extremes. Even as darkness fades and familiar constellations reassert themselves, the echoes of infinity remain. They resonate in subtle waves through the cosmos and within the mind. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought aligns with the rhythm of existence itself. The journey inward and back has left its mark, a gentle imprint of the eternal, the infinite, and the sublime. In this way, the singularity does not vanish but persists, folded into the fabric of consciousness and perception, A reminder that endings are never final, and beginnings are always present. As we finally settle into the calm of ordinary space, the universe hums softly with continuity. Light stretches across cosmic distances. Planets rotate serenely and nebulae glow with quiet brilliance. The echoes of the journey, the memory of infinite density, and the perception of cosmic transformation persist as gentle reminders of the sublime. We have traveled to the heart of darkness, touched the infinite, and returned. Yet in that return lies understanding. Even in void, beauty endures. Even in silence, the universe whispers. Even in darkness, there is light, and so sleep now, traveler. Let the universe cradle you, hum with you, and guide you through the echoes of all that has been and all that may yet be. You have touched infinity, and you have returned. The cosmos carries your passage in every star, every glimmer of light, and every ripple of energy. And as you drift, you become one with the rhythm of eternity, the gentle hum of existence, and the everlasting beauty of the universe itself.